You are listening to a podcast of the Geek I Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
Ho ho! You want to get personal.
Where were you born?
Huntsville, Alabama, but technically I don't remember that part.
Name of your first pet?
Mr. Snoofers.
Mr. Snoofers.
That's what I said. Did I pass?
Not yet. First job?
Soldier. Straight out of high school. Left the ranks of full bird colonel.
Then?
Spy.
Where?
It was the Cold War. We were everywhere. Belfast, Bucharest, Belgrade, Budapest. I like the bees. I can make them rhyme.
Now?
Been riding the desk for the past 6 years, trying to figure out where our future enemies are coming from. Never occurred to me they would be coming from above.
Name a detail so bizarre a scroll could never fabricate it.
A toast is cut diagonally. I can't eat it.
This is the Geek I.O. Rant and Review with your host, CJ, Rachel, Raul, Gary, Josh, Jared, and everyone's favorite Aussie, Dale Campbell. This week, Captain Marvel, she's the hero, gonna take the scrolls down to 0. We're ranting and reviewing Captain Marvel.
Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Geek I.O. Show, episode number 286, our rant and review of Captain Marvel. This is the wrong, that's the right day. I don't know what I'm talking about. Thursday, the 14th of March, 2019. Hey, I don't just read the screen. I correct it. Happy Pie Day, everybody. Happy Pie Day.
Hey, Pie Day.
I had banana cream. It was delicious.
And Rachel is still very slowly eating her pie.
We did not.
Savor the pie. It goes on forever.
We did not get any pie because we got off work late, and my work decided that the thing to give out on Pie Day is chips.
I mean,
Bro, you didn't put the Captain Marvel thing in the Twitch, by the way.
I just added it right now. Hi, I'm Raul, and I add things at the last second.
I'm your host, CJ Tentacle Cat Boat.
it's Rachel.
Hi, I'm Carrie Suck It Fanboys Wilcox.
And I'm Josh, generic call sign McGrath.
Rachel didn't think of a nickname, so drink.
Rachel, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me boat.
So, as we said, we are talking about Captain Marvel. We all wanted to see it, so we went and saw it. It's in the theaters worldwide. Actually came down in the same day worldwide, pretty much, I think. Unlike the last ones. So, the synopsis.
Well, one might think they might have actually learned from those mistakes.
You mean like Captain America opening up 3 weeks earlier in Europe than in America?
Yep.
Missed opportunity aside, what the fuck?
Right?
How do you give Captain America to the people we ran away from first?
That was the weirdest thing, talking to Daryl about. I'm like, what?
Oh, and they also changed Captain America when he's looking at his list, right?
Huh?
And checking it twice?
Wait, which Captain America?
Santa Claus?
Which Captain America did they release different?
I mean, would you turn down his package?
Nope. Not at all. So, the synopsis. 2 years after Steppenwolf's invasion, Billy Batson, a troubled 14-year-old orphan living in Philadelphia, is set to move along up to a new foster home, his seventh in the Vasquez family, with 5 other foster kids. One day, Billy gets on a subway car and finds himself transported to a different realm where an ancient wizard gives him the power to transform into a godlike superhero by uttering the word Shazam. Billy and his new foster brother, Freddy, must discover Billy's new powers to become the superhero, Captain Marvel.
DJ,
What?
do I need to translate this into real speak?
I read the synopsis for Captain Marvel.
Absolutely.
Totally. I think you need to look up the Marvel version of Captain Marvel, not the DC version.
Oh, right.
It's not like I put 2 in the show notes because the
which
official
one?
one is stupid.
That one. Right.
There's been like 3. Because there's Carol, there's Camilla Khan, there's the Black Lady.
Well,
Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel.
Yeah, it's Miss Marvel because that was
semantics.
Because that was Carol's name originally. Because there's been 5 Captain Marvels. But no, the joke was that I told Rachel I was going to do, and I'm glad that she didn't yell at me for doing it, was because Captain Shazam has been called Captain Marvel for so many years, for longer than Captain Marvel has been Captain Marvel, that I wanted to read the Shazam synopsis because it's fun.
And the beautiful thing is that Zachary Levi is going to be playing Shazam here soon. So yay.
No, that was the joke.
When are we doing the rant and review of that?
The week that it comes out. So 3 weeks from now? 4 weeks from now?
Wow, already? Jeez.
Yeah, no, these next couple of months are going to be ridiculous. We'll get to that in the second half of the show. I'm not going to read that first one. That's dumb.
That's the official one. I saw that and I was like, this is stupid. So I put the other one in.
So actually, after crashing a key on uncharted territory, our Air Force pilot Carol Danvers is brought up by the Kree to being a member of the elite Star Force military under the command of her mentor, Jan Rog. 6 years later, after crash landing on Earth while under attack by the Skrulls, Danvers begins to discover that she is not who she believes she is. With help from SHIELD agent Nick Fury, Danvers begins to unravel the truth about her past. What she discovers is a secret that will unleash her true power and become one or zero of the universe's most powerful heroes ever known.
Jan Rog.
That's another internal comic joke that I just made.
You know, why does it have to be what the group that she's part of as part of the Kree?
Star Force military?
Yes, it's Star Force. No. Our president really fucked it up because it's Space Force.
Space Force military.
Space Force military. Go.
I mean, America, we are kind of the dicks of the world. So does that just make us the Kree?
I mean,
yes.
We just don't bleed blue?
No, we bleed red, white, and blue, apparently.
Yes.
Right.
So sorry for making my stupid jokes. I am a huge Captain Marvel fan and have been since I was little. So back when she was Miss Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah, freaking Marvel.
Because originally she got her powers from just being exposed to Marvel, right?
Yeah, they basically, it was originally it was her just being near him because it used to be a him. I'm glad that got updated, but we'll get to that too. We'll get to that in a second. Let me get through this first. We'll get to the differences.
As you can tell, we're excited to talk about this.
Yes.
Boat's got to do his bit.
So of course the lovely, talented Brie Larson is playing Carol Danvers, Bears, Captain Marvel. Samuel motherfucking Jackson is back as Nick Fury.
A young Nick Fury.
Yeah, man, straight out of freaking. They copied and pasted the assets somehow.
And 2-eyeball Nick Fury.
From exactly, he was basically just why is the name of the movie escaping me?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Thank you. It's just basically him. Like they just copied and pasted him.
Different haircut. That's it.
Overdubbed him. Yeah. Similar but really distinct from.
So at this time, he would have been done Pulp Fiction, right?
Yeah, this would have been the year that Pulp Fiction came out. So everybody's favorite current bad guy, Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. Everybody's other favorite current bad guy, Jude Law, as Jan Rog. Annette Bening is the Supreme Intelligence / Dr. Wendy Lawson. LaShanya Lynch is Maria Rambo. Clark Gregg is Agent Coulson. Reggie, Archie, Gonzo, and Rizzo, Goose.
I had to put that in there. They were credited.
Also, fantastic names for cats.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you name a pet after a Muppet, it automatically wins.
Right? Give a shout out to the Pie Maker appearing back as Ronan the Accuser, and Jimon Elijahfor back as that guy that nobody remembers his name of from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
The guy with the cool blue eyes.
I recognized him.
I recognized him too. I just don't remember the character's name.
Yeah, nobody does. He's just that guy that everybody remembers from who?
Yeah, it's like, come on, Star-Lord? What?
I do love those little nods that they put in there, but yes, let's keep going through the thing so we can talk about this.
Yes.
Trivia. Keep it short, CJ. Okay. Brie Larson is allergic to cats, so her scenes involving Goose were filmed with a puppet or computer-generated VFX.
I would love to
Oh my God, they really were Muppets.
Yeah, I would love to see the non-CGI and them actually have like a little, like, obvious cat puppet there.
Andy Serkis with a cat puppet.
Please, someone put that in.
In reality, it was just Reggie, Archie, Gonzo, Rizzo, and Andy Serkis playing Goose. The security guard Captain Marvel speaks to at the beginning of the movie is a Marvel security director, Barry Curtis. That is fucking awesome, by the way.
Right? That they put him in there.
In the comics, Captain Marvel's cat is named Chewie after Chewbacca from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. In this film, he's named after Goose after Goose Bradshaw from Top Gun. When Talos confronts Carol and Nick in Louisiana, he sips from a fast food drink container. It is exactly the same design and cup that Jules, played by Samuel L. Jackson, sips in the scene of Pulp Fiction, where they steal back the briefcase.
Oh my God, the little nods.
Project Pegasus stands for Potential Energy Group / Alternative Sources / United States. It was previously mentioned in the Avengers.
That's a really awkward acronym.
So they gave a great nod to that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They go through the strategic homeland, intelligence, and enforcements of land defense, I believe it is. And they go, that's a mouthful. They just really wanted her acronym to be S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh.
Talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., CJ, because you've watched it more than I have. Don't the Kree come out in Agents?
Yes. It'll be interesting if they tie that into the show or not. I doubt it, because that show is really bad at this. While Monica Rambeau is choosing a new color for Carol Danvers' suit, we can see many references. A red and yellow suit worn by DC's Captain Marvel, currently known as Shazam. A black and golden suit, the color of Carol Danvers' Miss Marvel suit, and a white and green suit, the classic Kree suit colors in the comics. I squealed every time those came on screen, and Rachel's like, "What?" I'm like, "It's all the costumes."
I really wanted her to stick with the Tron one.
Right.
I know that's going to get cosplayed.
Oh yeah.
All of the EL wiring.
Before we get into the deep stuff, let's get into like the super deep stuff. Like, what the fuck, Marvel? Why you gotta make me cry? CJ's sitting there already, like, ready to start counting.
Oh yeah,
the fucking intro, and all of a sudden I see nothing but Stan Lee, and I become a blubbering fucking mess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right before the actual movie, the opening credits, the Marvel logo, which...
Yeah. Well, I was getting ready to do the dickhead CinemaSins things. Like, I had my watch open, I had my stopwatch, and I'm like, all right, let's see how many seconds of circle jerk. No. Oh.
I thought it was just one image of Stan
Nope.
Lee, and then I started...
No, if it had been one image, it would have been fine, because I could have held myself together for, even one or two, maybe even, every other letter. No, every single fucking letter is another one of his cameos that he did throughout all of the Marvel Universe cinematic stuff that he's done. And here I am going, CJ, this is not okay.
And then the thank you Stan at the end of it.
Yes.
Oh my God. And his actual scene.
So there's a fun thing about trivia on that one. He's practicing his line that he was getting ready to do at his first movie
From
Mallrats, which would have been filming around the time that this movie was being
1995. Yep.
So
yeah, that made me a blubbering fucking fool at the very beginning. Like, thank you. Not okay. Like, I'm even sitting there, and we have the way we have our theater set up, or the way our theater is set up, every once in a while we get there's 2 groups of 2 seats that, we put the kids in front of us so we can monitor them and watch them, but I don't have to have my child right next to me being an asshole. Not that I don't love my children, but my children don't stop. So we put the kids in front of us, and all of a sudden I see Aaron lean over and go, Kia, that's all Stan Lee. And they both you can see the sides of their faces because they're facing each other. So we see like the profile, and my daughter's like, the whole time just like sucking the bottom lip, and he's doing the same thing, looking at her, and they're both like hugging each other. It's like, oh, we miss you, Stan. And that doesn't help me. So yeah, thank you, Marvel, for bringing my ass to a blubbering mess within the first 30 friggin' seconds of the movie. Jerk.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say it's fucking adorable though.
Yeah. So we can do quotes, or we can just move on to what we think about the movie. So we can, since we were running late today.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna reference a bunch of the quotes anyway.
That's fair. All right. So, okay. Holy shit. All right.
So there is something that I want to address right away, because I read this criticism from somebody posting about it online, and I found it interesting and completely opposite of what I experienced. He was saying that apparently this movie is not as feminist as he thought it would be, because her being a woman and considered weaker than men does not play as huge of a plot point in the movie as he thought it did. To me, that makes it more of a feminist movie, that she's just awesome. And we don't have to go through this same tired plot again. I mean, it's referenced, but it's not in your face the whole time.
Well, one thing that CJ and I actually discussed about this, because Captain Marvel was one that I never really fully got into. And he goes, I can tell you exactly why you never fully got into her. And I went, okay, amuse me. Why? He goes, because she was the typical comic book, save me, throughout the first half of her comic book existence. And I went, I think you're right. So I've since gone back and looked at all of the original comics that she was in. And man, was she a bitch. She had, save me, help me, I'm helpless, all over her the first probably half dozen comics that she was in.
And that's not even helping the fact that her outfits used to be really problematic in today's standards.
Yeah.
There's a reason why one of her outfits is called the disco bondage outfit.
Yeah. And compare that with my first experience of her, which is after Kelly Sue DeConnick took over.
Yes.
And she became Captain Marvel with the suit that we see now. And my first visual of Captain Marvel was a cover of, I believe it was issue number 6, where it was her in the suit hauling a criminal by the collar across the rooftops of whatever city they happened to be in. There was no TNA angle. There was no gratuitous boob shots, no gratuitous boob window. Just a woman wearing a practical and awesome super suit, kicking ass and taking names. And my first thought was, I want to read about her.
And thankfully they've gotten, a lot better. Even her latter stuff as Miss Marvel, before she became Captain Marvel, was really, it began getting better in the early 2000s. She didn't become Captain Marvel until 2012. But she's been Miss Marvel for ages now. Yeah, she's always kind of been the strong superheroine, but in the late 80s, early 90s, that still meant that she was weaker than a D-list male.
Yeah, she brings a lot of great assets to the team.
Yeah, not as many as Black Widow or anything like that, but yeah, she brings her assets along.
Her thigh-high boots and her unitard and
yep.
Her raging alcohol problems that Tony Stark has to save her from.
Yeah, of all fucking people, Tony fucking Stark. Hopefully they don't visit that in the Captain Marvel cinematic universe.
Or if they do, to treat it with more sensitivity.
Yeah.
Because, representation is important, and watching your hero overcome something that somebody in the audience may struggle with can be really powerful. There's a book that I read that had one of the protagonists fighting substance abuse, and it reduced me to tears in a good way to see it portrayed the way it was.
Yeah.
So like this movie also mirrors a lot of like male athlete movies, right? Like Rocky.
Yeah, the scrawny kid who can't do it but just won't give up.
What's the name of the new one? Just is it the one with his son?
You talking about Creed?
Yeah, Creed. Well, like that one, it's like it doesn't matter how many. It shows that Captain Marvel gets knocked out multiple times, but she always gets back up.
Yes, and it's not in her face either. It's not in your face either. She does not spend the movie being weak.
No.
Yeah.
It's touched on where
why she does it. Without going into it, it's because of the abuse or the emotional abuse that she suffered at the hands of her parents. Well, specifically her father.
Mm-hmm. And it's because that's who she is as a person, because of that, and also because of how she grew up, the choices she's making, just who she is. But she doesn't have to spend the entire movie being weak and helpless to get that point across. We get the flashback of Chibi Carol, but by the time we get to her, she's already an accomplished officer.
Yeah, she's already a major in the Air Force. By the way, captain is a demotion for her, but that will go. That's semantics. She's already a major in the Air Force. She's a badass fighter already. She's strong. She's worked her ass off, and then she is in the elite force of the Kree, facing off against some of their strongest people. Because you saw the likes of guy who is played by Jimon Elijahfor. I try really hard not to badly say his name because I really just want to call him Digimon the entire time, but I don't because that's rude. But his character has been shown going toe to toe with a demigod or Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy, and she is on par with him. You don't know what Yog Saron, Jan Rog is up about.
And she's on par with him before coming into her own.
Yeah.
Like with one hand tied behind her back, she can deal with this guy.
Yeah.
And fight alongside him.
So yeah, exactly. Yes, you are introduced to her being amazing and then her being sassy and awesome. Like,
just remember though, objectively speaking, he is very handsome.
Yes, I love the banter in this team. I know Marvel does this really well, and I know there were some times in some movies where it came out more forced than others. I think it was Age of Ultron that, for me, the comedic timing just felt really forced.
Yes, Age of Ultron was very forced because I think, and that was Joss Whedon's middle finger to Marvel because of that.
But this one felt a lot more natural. I will say that the dialogue in the very, maybe the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie felt kind of stilted. But then after that, they kind of warm up to each other and come into their own.
Yeah, once they get on the train, really, it's fine.
Yeah.
The very beginning seems like your typical, military opening, like what Captain America was.
Yeah. Thankfully, they didn't like you said, didn't stay around for very long. Like once they get on the train and start actually having fun with one another, that's where
I actually think her escaping from capture was actually very fun. The fact that she's beating people with these gauntlets that she has on.
Oh my God, yes. She's using everything she has as her at her disposal. I'm gonna just beat you with these giant iron things because I'm physically strong, and these are gonna hurt like a bitch.
She takes out like an entire ship worth of people.
Yeah. And I like
20
Talos like,
of my best men.
yeah, Talos like 20 of my best men with one hand tied behind your back.
With your arms bound, because she had both of them sealed at that point. She couldn't use her photon blasts. And just like, I love all the little lore nods. And a lot of in a universe that's gotten so interconnected as this one, it would be really easy to try and ham fist the references in.
Yes.
But they made it so subtle, like just having the accusers be the ones to back them up on the mission, having Who Guy on their team.
What was his fucking name? He's just that guy now, apparently. Poor guy.
Rakdos.
He's way cooler than Rakdos Guy.
I don't know. Rakdos guy is pretty damn cool. You just don't know him yet.
He likes to think he's cool.
Yeah, he does.
Let's see.
But yeah, all these little nods.
Oh, what was the name of
If you're-
the movie that she picks up at the Blockbuster?
Top Gun.
Was it Top
Or no, The Right Stuff.
The right
Right
stuff.
Stuff, yes.
Yeah, because she was having
Horath.
Horath.
Also, I really just portmanteaued Jimon Hansu and Jesus Christ, Mordo. Chiwetel Ejiofor's names together to
Whoops.
create Jimon Ejiofor.
Whoops. They did the fusion dance.
Yes. My bad. In my attempt to not mispronounce your name, I gave you the wrong one. I apologize.
So one thing I noticed about the setting, it was the 90s, but they showed you the Blockbuster, but they didn't bean you over the head with, hey, it's 90s.
Yeah, they did not give you 1995 on the screen. Like
They didn't give you Stranger Things.
oh, thank God.
Stranger Things beans you over the head with 90s reference.
I sincerely hope, and I told Rachel this, that when we get to Guardians 3, because he has a Zune, which is a strictly early 2000s thing, they let this be the 90s movie with the 90s music, and Guardians 3 is the early 2000s one. Because at that point, we will be 20 years out from that. We can look back at it fondly. Also, holy fuck, it's almost 2020, you guys.
Like I've seen fantastically memed, the way the third Guardians of the Galaxy needs to start is with Chris Pratt kicking the door open to Smash Mouth's All-Star.
I would be 1,000% down with that.
They're gonna sing the song. Smash Mouth is in the closet. Anyway, back to Captain Marvel. Yeah, so we get to see her. You know, I love the banter on the Helix, they called it, their little ship thingy.
Yes.
The banter on the Helix and the way they introduce the Skrulls is really cool, where again they don't try to tell you, they don't try to info drop all this stuff, they just show it to you.
Yeah.
Like, you see them doing the codes, you see them, you know, watch out for the locals, they could be Skrulls, and then you see the shapeshifting taking place. For someone who isn't super familiar with the Skrulls in the comics, that's a great intro to them without having to do a bunch of wordy bullshit.
The upside is these ain't your comic book Skrulls. At least not these guys, because Skrulls are very bad. They're very, 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 very bad. Because I mean, you get to see, and this is something that I like on this one, and I hope they expand into it when we get a Secret Invasion movie or something along those lines. They give you insinuations that no matter the form that they take, they keep their physical abilities. They also can take powers in the comics. So
Super Skrull.
I hope to see a Super Skrull once the Fox Marvel thing goes through next week. Do.
Is it next week?
Next week is when it's set to close.
Nice. But yeah, and that really made this plot line a good red herring, because I'm sure, you know, comics fans knowing, Skrulls are bad, this is going to be awesome. Wait, what the fuck?
I'm like, I know the Kree are bad guys. I know the Kree are kind of pure neutral, sometimes lawful evil. So I'm like, the Kree being assholes I could deal with, but why are they making Skrulls the good guys? I don't understand.
I've seen a couple different theories on this. One of them is that these guys are like a splinter faction.
That's my guess.
The other one is that because this movie takes place in the past, Carol helping them and giving them a chance to regroup is what gives us the bad Skrulls in the present, because they regroup and they come back with a vengeance.
After Talos has moved on or died or something. Yeah, that would be fun.
Or a coup happens.
Yeah. And it would be great once we get the Secret Invasion movie, which, I mean, it's a huge storyline. They've already done Infinity Gauntlet and Civil War. Secret Invasion is just a matter of time. I think we want to wait until we get the Fox things in here, because the X people deal with a lot of stuff in that. So, and the Fantastic Four are what create Super Skrulls. So
wasn't the was it the Extremes or the Inhumans? Weren't those created to replace the X-Men?
Yes. And then they fucked that entire franchise up the ass with a barbed spike pipe that was filmed in Hawaii. Because remember, it was filmed in Hawaii. Just remember, it was filmed in Hawaii. Sorry, that's an S4 reference.
Which means you need to take that joke back to the dojo.
Yes, exactly.
Because it all goes back to the dojo.
Everything goes back to the dojo that was filmed in Hawaii. It's fun having my own memes. I haven't had it makes me happy that I have my own memes.
I love that we have Coulson back.
We have Coulson back. We have young Nick Fury. They did a really good job on de-aging those guys.
Yes, I'm just afraid that between Michael Douglas and this, that the de-aging thing is going to get a little bit too uncanny valley-y, and makes me wonder if originally before he passed they had a de-aged Stan Lee, and then after he passed they let him be in there as his normal self, because he definitely looked different, a lot different in Mallrats than he does today. So
yeah, I kind of like that anachronism too, of having like old Stan Lee practicing young Stan Lee's lines.
Yes,
because it adds credence to the theory of Stan Lee being this multi-dimensional godlike entity in the MCU.
He's the one above all.
Yeah.
He appears that way to us because that is how we as the viewer see him.
And then we get the insane train fight that was spoiled in the trailers.
Yeah. I wish they would have just left it as her punching an old woman. Like, it just left that and wouldn't have included her doing ninja stuff in the train, in the trailers. So I am super excited for Captain Marvel 2, by the way. Like, I am super, super excited for Captain Marvel 2 already, because obviously this movie is making hand over fist money.
Good.
Who are Captain Marvel's like main enemies?
The Kree and the Skrull.
Is it just the Kree and the Skrull?
She kind of has an issue, kind of like Thor and his standalone stuff, where she's so powerful that her dealing with normal Earth threats doesn't work. So she is typically more of a space hero. She's a cosmic hero, because you put her up against anything below World Breaker and she's just going to steamroll them. That's why she works in the event.
Thanos.
Exactly.
So in this one, when she goes all super
binary. It's called binary.
It's called binary form.
Why didn't they call it binary in the movie?
No. Is that her binary form, or is that just like
That is her binary form. When she absorbs so much energy that she goes Super Saiyan, that is her binary form.
Oh, okay. I thought binary was a little bit stronger than that, or more stronger than that.
Well, she can become
more stronger than her punching through an accuser warship and making Ronan the accuser fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, that in space, by the way, where there is no gravity, she made a fucking ship explode like by herself. That is pretty fucking strong.
Like I thought that was just her like using her normal power. I thought binary was like much higher than that.
No, well, there's binary, and then there's, when she actually gets the chance to perfect it. and then I think that's when she actually became the hero binary for a couple of weeks.
Where like she becomes a cosmic entity.
And also we ran into an issue where binary was a lot like Dark Phoenix, and we can't have a lot of that going on at once.
Yeah, too much for Dark Phoenix really fucks things up. But
By
speaking
the way,
of
the trailer for
punching
Phil-
holes, speaking of punching holes through spaceships,
Okay.
can we just stop for a second and appreciate that fucking scene
Oh my god.
and the attention to detail? The fact that she handles herself like a fighter plane. The way she flies is spot on what would happen if you put a fighter plane into a human body.
Yep.
It's like that's her frame of reference.
They didn't have to do it, but they did.
Yeah, like
And
yes.
Also, we've seen this movie twice now, by the way.
Nice.
Both times, the entire theater laughed at the shithole comment.
I don't remember, but was she flying her own power or was she using her plasma jets?
Yes, she does both.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the escape sequence is where it first starts, where she's trying to get away from Talos's people, and she is trying to not only escape from them dogpiling her, but she's trying to get the shackles off, and she ends up plasma bursting so violently that not only does it burst a hole through the hull of a spaceship, and keep in mind this is when she's chipped, so she's not nearly as strong as she should be. She's got like 10 dudes on top of her, bursts a hole in the ship, bursts the shackles off, and then when she's flying out of the ship and trying to hold on, that's when she gets so desperate that she first photon blasts herself back into the ship just out of sheer desperation. And then later you see her when she's falling to Earth during the ascension sequence, is when she starts to you see the jet thrusters start to come to life. And at that point is when she starts flying under her own power.
I love the scene where she catches the missiles.
Yes.
And she catches one, she throws it back.
By the way, if you want a frame of reference of how strong she is, those things are traveling. They created a sonic boom behind them when they started moving. So it means they broke the sound barrier. She grabbed one of them with little issue and threw it back at the same velocity as it came back to her.
They needed that to show how powerful she is.
I mean, that's before she punched a hole in a starship.
That's before, yes.
But
I think one of my favorite references for just how strong Captain Marvel is the fact that we I think almost all of us, I don't know if Carrie saw it, the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yes.
And the ridiculously badass near indestructible Rogue.
Yep.
She is the way she is because she drained Captain Marvel.
Yep.
She only takes those powers temporarily to begin with, but she got so much power off of Captain Marvel that it became basically permanent.
Yeah. They have a lifespan, but it is nigh infinite.
And some of the things I love that this movie does that did differently from a lot of other origin stories. Most origin stories, normal person exists. Thing happens, normal person gets powers. Superpower person tries to use their powers and fails. Superpower person has a training montage. Superpower person, now trained, saves the day, roll credits. Carol already has her powers at the beginning of the movie, can already use them. We get a little bit of her training montage throughout the flashbacks. We get to see her being a still badass, non-powered person in the flashbacks. But she has her powers throughout the movie, and once she comes into her own, it is the power of her own self-actualization that lets her use them to their fullest. She fucking owns her powers from the beginning. As soon as she realizes that these are mine, they were not given to me, they are mine, she can use them. And she can do awesome things like hurl Kree missiles at the speed of sound. at, I mean, scaring Ronan the Accuser off is not a small feat.
Who, and again, we have to put out, handled an Infinity Stone with 0 issue. Ronan the Accuser, strong enough, is basically demigod level power, but when we first see him, he is strong enough to destroy planet. He is a planet buster on his own, and she scared him.
He just
admittedly,
looks
this may have been before
he looks back
became.
at his second command. Boom!
Yeah.
They take off.
So, admittedly, this was before he became, the World Breaker, the Ronan the Accuser, before he got his hammer. But still, nevertheless, she put the fear of God in him bad enough for him to run tail to freaking Thanos. Like,
yep.
She sent him back. She sent him with his tail so far between his legs, he went to Purple Daddy Josh Brolin.
So rewinding the clock a little bit, the bromance between her and Fury.
Oh my god.
I'm so glad they didn't do like a weird romance kind of thing with that. Nope. I'm so happy they just like, they are bros. And I'm so happy they did that.
If toast is cut diagonally, he can't eat it. I hope that shows up again at some point.
The chemistry between them was amazing.
Yeah, like it seemed like they worked together for so long. They've never been in a movie together or anything. Like they work just so well together. It is crazy. And I blame that on Brie Larson because Samuel L. Jackson has been notoriously bad to work with on film sets.
Which is funny because if you watch, like, there was the carpool karaoke short that they did together. Like, they just seem like they're legitimately good friends now.
And I hope that is the case. Yay.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the raid, Ritual Misery.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think Squid's trolling us.
So yeah, we get the bromance between her and Fury, which again brings back that great, just the right amount of comedic timing and with a little bit of more seriousness with the whole I know a rogue soldier when I see one. But it was great seeing young Nick Fury.
Yes.
And seeing him, he's never seen an alien before. She was his first alien.
Yeah. Captain
Alien.
First time.
And whatchamacallit? Nick Fury is a cat dad.
Yeah. No, cat dad.
He's just like
cat
Fury.
Oh, what's your name, little buddy? Goose, a cool name for a cool cat. I'll be back for you.
Oh my god, fucking Nick Fury and the cat was just the best. Oh my god.
I really hope that was Samuel L. Jackson improving.
Right.
Oh, what do your friends call you, Fury? What does your mom call you?
Flecking cat.
What was that, Rachel?
The flecking cat.
Flecking cat.
Yes, the Flarkin cat.
Oh god, when that's not just a cat, that's a Flarkin.
What's a Flarkin? That.
You should not be letting that sit on your lap.
Oh, are you afraid, little kitty?
And the scroll
Keep that thing
was
away from me.
terrified of the cat. Like,
and I love that they didn't take the predictable route of, oh, it's a cat the whole time. Haha, silly alien man is afraid of the cat. No, it actually was a Flurkin, and turns out that Flurkins are tentacle mouth cat monsters with
Cthulhu
portable
thing.
wormholes in their stomachs.
Yeah, this Cthulhu
It's the cat of holding.
Just come
It is
out
the
and
cat.
like eats people.
It ate like 5 people and the fucking Tesseract. Like, it is the cat of holding.
The best part about that, though, was Agent Fury's response afterward. I'm picking you up now.
Please don't eat me.
Like asking for consent from the cat that he was just viciously cuddling.
Yes.
Well, and also keep in mind that his comment in, what was it, Civil War, the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Oh my god.
Remember when he says, I'm trusting you not to eat me?
Oh my god. Marvel, you beautiful, beautiful bastards.
Oh,
Also, I've forgotten most of Civil War outside of the
That's okay.
The airport scene.
That's okay. I read about that
I
reference
love
after
how
seeing the
Goose
movie.
just kept on following them. And you're like,
Yes.
okay, there's some kind of code on the collar or something. Nope.
Nope. It is. The cat is a Cthulhu bag of holding.
Yep. And the fact that Goose was able.
It's what happens when you try and when the druid tries to create a magic item and rolls a 1.
Goose was able to tell Talos apart.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason that he didn't eat the Kree, is because, you know, you get the pettiness of Pat's joke, but it was actually because Nick Fury was brandishing Goose at Goose's friend.
Yes. Goose is okay with this one. This one is okay.
And then when we get to what was it? Was it a capital ship that was the lab?
The Imperial cruiser.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's great that who turns out to be Captain Marvel.
Yes, which I love that change.
Yes. Oh my God.
That change. So, all right. All right, here we go. Drink for source material talking like I do on S4. So, Marvel used to be a guy. He was Captain Marvel for the longest time. We were discussing this before we got into this. Miss Marvel originally got her powers just from kind of being around him. And he
got to contact superheroism.
Exactly. And then that got retconned into the fact that they got hurt together and they needed a blood transfusion. There was nobody else around but Marvel.
Which makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. It was like, we don't know if this is going to work, but you're both going to die anyway. So.
I mean, that's how we got She-Hulk, so.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then
much. Yeah, exactly.
I think Marvel dies, and then she takes the name Captain Marvel.
In 2012, once Marvel got it back from DC, yes. It was a very long time coming, but yes. Yeah, she was Miss Marvel, but he died. She was the 5th Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau, the little girl, was Captain Marvel before she was Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau originally was introduced as Captain Marvel before they lost it to DC. And now she is the superhero Spectrum, and I cannot wait to see her on Captain Marvel 2. Oh,
was that the Captain Marvel from Secret Wars?
Yes.
The lady of color with the awesome fro and black and white costume who could turn into light?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm like, it was bothering me through the entire time. I'm like, Rambo. Like, the last name was bothering the hell out of me because I didn't know her mom's name. That last name is bothering the shit out of me. And then she said, my daughter, Monica. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get. I called her Photon for the longest time.
She was known as Photon for a while.
And then, but her one she's known for is now Spectrum. But yeah, she is a badass lady of color who doesn't take any shit whatsoever.
Well, look at who her examples are.
Yeah, she went to
the comments at the end of the movie there.
She went to the Misty Knight school of fucking people up when they underestimate her.
There was a scene where like the daughter is talking to the Rambo, right?
Rambo. It's Louisiana.
Okay. So
French.
You could have this once in a lifetime experience, and just because you want to stay here, you fly all the time.
I think you should consider what kind of example you're setting for your daughter.
She
a masterclass in sass,
right?
Oh.
Also, the embracing that this movie does of female relationships is so important. With as much as pop culture likes to portray women as just catty and absolutely hating each other, the fact that you have best friends, mentor, mentee, mother, daughter, sister-like relationships, because it was basically we became your real family.
Yeah.
Aunt, niece. Like, you've got all these amazing, female relationships, and even Veers and what's her face? I don't know the character's name. Shithole girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Widowmaker.
Yeah. Widowmaker /
we shall love her Waffle Maker.
She's like a weird Widowmaker / Sombra hybrid.
Right. Weird.
But I love her design. She's super cool.
Yeah.
But like they don't like each other, but they still cooperate together because they're teammates.
By the way, Minerva.
But there could have easily been a subplot there where they're constantly cattying at each other and trying to get under each other's skin. And no, they don't like each other, but they have a job to do and they will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they know the mission comes first, and they know like if there's any kind of conflict between them, it's going to jeopardize the mission.
Yeah, and that is secondary, at far secondary.
Well, you're going to jeopardize the mission, and you're also going to jeopardize your other comrades.
Yeah,
exactly. Other things that I love that they didn't do, if this was a Michael Bay movie, the outfit that Carol stole would have been a crop top and booty shorts.
Yeah. I do like just the 9 Inch Nails shirt, and that was fantastic. Also,
you look like somebody's disaffected niece.
Also, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a crop top and booty shorts because, man, casual Carol's so fucking attractive.
It's appropriate to the period. It's something practical that a soldier would choose if she had to go into civvies to go undercover.
Yeah.
The comedy that we have, real quick before we move on, the comedy we had with the cat when they're taking off in the ship, plastered against the boxes.
That was great. Other things too, calling out the "you should smile, honey."
Oh yes.
Got a smile for me, sweetie?
Fuck you! I'm gonna steal your bike. And then she drives on the wrong side of the road, which was hilarious. And the crowning moment of the film, right up there with her punching a hole through one of Ronan's ships. I have nothing to prove to you.
Yes.
After all the shit that this movie has been given, after all the shit that female leads, female creators, female characters have been given, I have nothing to prove to you. Fuck off.
That I love that one line. That one scene was amazing.
And I appreciate that even though he was, the antagonist the entire time, Yogg-Saron was always he never treated her with disrespect. It was never a looking down on her because for any reason, and certainly not because she's a girl.
I got a little bit of condescension from him. It was not intentional condescension.
That's what we call Jude Law.
But it's a really good illustration of their perpetual stereotype that women are too emotional.
Yeah. Also, if anybody saw Jude Law, thank you, baby. If anybody ever sees Jude Law in a movie, he's going to be a bad guy, just so you guys know.
It's Jude Law bad guy as in
Dumbledore.
As in
I mean, Dumbledore's a pretty bad guy, dude.
Jude Law being bad guy is Sean Bean dying in every movie.
Yeah. I think he's not been a bad guy in like one or two of his movies, but most of the time if he's on screen, he is a bad guy.
But that's the thing with institutionalized casual sexism is it's so pervasive. It doesn't even really read like that. Jude, this character really thinks that he's doing what's best for Carol, but he does it in such a fucking condescending way of, I know better. You're too emotional. You need my guidance in order to move forward.
Whose blood is it that's running through your veins?
And I legitimately think that that he did not consciously think this way. I think it was there. I mean, he was unaware of it, but it was there.
That's how he was, because he is as you see with the Kree built up in Guardians and in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not all Kree are warriors, but when they are born warriors. He has been born and raised and created by the Supreme Intelligence.
He's a Saiyan.
Yeah, exactly. He is a warrior. That is what he's going to think. Vers was not a warrior until he got her, according to in his head. She was something different. So regardless if it was a boy or girl, he would have been above her for many reasons. One, because he was a warrior from birth, born, raised to be a warrior. Two, he was her commanding officer. In his head, that makes him better than her.
But it was a really well done illustration of the kind of sexism that women face today.
Yeah.
Where it's, I'm acknowledging you on the surface, but deep down, I'm totally better than you, and you're way too emotional.
You could only ever beat me by using your powers. Never mind that he was always using his equipment to fight her.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're right. I probably couldn't, but I don't need to do that. Fuck off.
Well, those powers are part of her.
Yeah. Oh my God. So on a cinematic level, I do want to pull out the fact that I know we don't normally do this, especially for Marvel movies. Man, the pacing felt so well done. The editing was so crisp. There were a few issues with some of the cinematography choices, and there were more than a few jump cuts that I noticed. But it's mainly I noticed those things because everything surrounding this movie is so well done that when I see a dip, it is instantly noticeable to me. Unlike other movies, I didn't need to see this multiple times to realize to get my snark on, because there's not a lot of snark here. She was definitely not wearing that or put that in that place a second ago. Now she is. Okay, that was all right.
Speaking of cinematography, though, we did get the best pod racing sequence of the 21st century.
Now this is pod racing.
The flying in that movie was incredible.
It really was. They did a fantastic job of showing speed without being like, you're going Mach 7.
And also being able to see the action and follow what was happening on the screen. I'm looking at you, Transformers.
Rachel and you and I talked about that when we left. Was everything felt, you could feel everything going on there, much less see it.
Yeah.
Rachel, you've been since we're talking about cinematography here, you're very sensitive about that kind of thing right about now because of everything going on. What'd you think of it?
There was only a few points where it was bothersome for me. Nowhere near if we were to compare this to the flashy screen in Incredibles 2, which I just rewatched Incredibles 2 the other day with the kids, and that stupid blinky scene made me nauseous as hell.
They really need to release a sensory edit of that.
Yeah, it honestly surprises me that they didn't launch it with that.
Nope, but even on our TV, we had all the lights on in the living room because it was, darkish in the house. So I made the kids open the blinds, put the light on over the TV, or not over the TV, but over the couch. And just the blinking made me nauseous. There was only one point, and it's when she's bouncing between the ships that it kind of caught me off guard, but it wasn't like the stupid backlight flash that was killing me. It was the speed at which she was pinging back and forth.
So it was more the motion.
She can stop doing that, because I couldn't, my brain couldn't register it fast enough.
So you'd say it's more motion and less light at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, for me, because right now I'm hypersensitive to everything.
You have a issue with motion.
I can't watch you do swan dives in Assassin's Creed. No.
Yeah.
Because it makes my stomach do somersaults as you're doing it. It's like, no. It wasn't quite to that level, but it was one of those ooh, I wasn't expecting that. Ooh, you can stop doing that. And she would stop for a second. I could regain myself. And I was like, okay, you can do that again now because I'm expecting it now.
Dia brings up in the chat, Jude Law was a decent Watson. We all know Watson is a bad guy.
Watson's a bad guy. Watson is secretly a douche. He's trying to manipulate Sherlock.
To just go home. He just wants to go home and see his wife. But that makes him a bad guy.
Let's see. What about? I mean, okay, we say it's a great movie, but everything has another side to it. Anything negative you can think of?
What bothered me, and it's because it's a continuity thing for me. If you look at the ways that Nick Fury has lost his eye, that is not how he loses it. That bothered. Like, I looked at CJ and I went, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's a war vet. Yeah. He's not going to end up losing his eye from a fucking cat scratch, is he? And CJ just looks at me and goes, well, that's kind of what I'm like, no.
No, it was a Florkin scratch.
Yeah, it's a Florkin scratch. It's much different.
Oh, it's just a scratch. It'll be fine.
It's a flesh wound, I understand. But in every other incarnation, shall we say, because obviously the very first Nick Fury was a white dude.
Yeah.
The second one was modeled after Samuel Jackson.
Nick Fury Jr.
And then you have Nick Fury Jr. Sorry, I decided to drink ginger ale.
Nick Fury Jr. was the Samuel L. Jackson one after Samuel.
No. Nick Fury Jr. came after the second incarnation of him. Go look it up. Don't even at me, bro.
No, well, so they may have. So the OG Nick Fury is still around. He is still.
OG Nick Fury is white boy.
Yeah, he's easily comparable to Michael Ironsides or Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken.
Yes, and then you have the black that does favor Samuel L. Jackson, and then you have a much younger Fury Jr.
Well, no, he was introduced as Nick Fury Jr. in 2012 after Nick Fury in 2009 after Nick Fury was cast as Samuel L. Jackson. And yes, I said that way on purpose. His name, he was the clone of Nick Fury, but spliced with a African-American woman's genes as well, because comic books.
So I think another thing I could say about this is that most of the action happened towards the end. You had a little bit in the opening, and then towards the end you had the big scene.
This was paced very well, though. Yeah, it was, but you had action throughout. This was not just quipness and then they fight. You had it spread out thoughtfully through the entire thing. So you had the training montage and then quips, and then you had breaking out of the scroll ship, and then quips, and then you had some minor fights in between there, action conveyed through Air Force awesomeness. And then the big fight at the end. Rachel had something. Rachel looked like she was ready to yell at me for something.
No, I am. I will find it.
She's arming the gun to yell at me later.
While she's searching that, I will throw out the quick comment that I love that they spoke to and shadowed female airmen for this movie.
Yes.
Like, going to the U.S. Air Force, yes, that's awesome. Going to the U.S. Air Force and singling out women specifically for a movie about a female Air Force officer, yes, good. Do more of that.
I think in the 90s, like they actually say it in the movies, they weren't allowed to fly combat missions.
Yeah, so that's the reason why she was pretty much just a test pilot.
A pretty damn good test pilot, because she outran an alien.
Yeah, look at how well she was flying that fucking Tesseract powered ship.
Yeah, no, I'm not, and even test pilots, no, like I don't want to use that as a negative thing, because without test pilots, we wouldn't have furthering technology in the Air Force.
They have to be the best.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't just let Airman Jones, who just got out of boot, who has an alcohol problem, become a test pilot, like.
Because they have to recognize everything that can go wrong.
Yeah, because you're multi-billion-dollar test planes in this and everything.
Yeah, and you've got, if something goes wrong, not only do you have to save your own ass, but you have to save the test plane.
Yeah, exactly. You are not you. Unlike in combat missions, it is not you versus anything else. You are in charge of that plane, and if you crash that or anything like that, and it does not have proper backup, you are fucked because sometimes that plane is worth more than you are.
Yeah, like
Uh-oh.
it-
Rachel
Okay.
has that smug look on her face.
Found it.
Smug Joel.
Found it. And I'm right. Okay. You first had Nick Fury, who was Nick Fury, or it was actually more so Sergeant Fury in his Howling Commandos.
Yes.
That is white boy Nick Fury.
Yes. Kurt Russell.
He lost his eye to a Nazi grenade.
Like a good American should.
Good white boy, World War II. Grunt period of time comic, modern sci-fi super
Hey,
spy.
Dale.
Okay.
He was killing Nazis.
There are two other characters in the Marvel multiverse who work under the same name, Nick Fury, and both of them are one-eyed wonders as well.
Yes, I am aware.
First, you have Nick Fury and then Nick Fury Jr. Nick Fury, who is likely the reason Samuel L. Jackson was cast as the character in the MCU, lost his eye in another military encounter while serving in Kuwait during the World War Gulf War.
Yes, that Nick Fury is from
That
the
would be
Ultimate Universe.
Ultimate Nick Fury.
Yeah, that's the Ultimate Universe where most of the cinematic universe pulls its source material from. That's the reason why we had the instead of the scrolls in the first Avengers movie, we had the
I almost said Tabaxi. Fuck.
And then
Chitauri.
that version of Nick Fury no longer exists after the shuttering of the Ultimate Marvel setting, or sorry, shattering of multiple Ultimate setting. It is Nick Fury Jr., who is the son of Nick Fury, which it's kind of funny if you think about it because he probably called him Fury. Just saying.
You better have.
What does your mama call you? Fury. What does your daddy call you? Fury. What does your grandma call you? Fury. What if you have kids? Fury.
No,
Have 'em? Good.
what do your kids call you? If I have any kids,
So
they call
there,
me Fury
I
too.
win. There is Nick Fury with the Sergeant Fury with the Commandos.
I never.
There is Nick Fury, and then there is Nick Fury Jr. So
So technically, Nick Fury, the OG Black Nick Fury, doesn't exist anymore. So there.
Also, this is I do love, like, obviously the MCU is gonna pull from the comics because they're fucking comic book movies, but
Yeah.
I like that they put their own little twists on things to make this its own continuity.
Which
Yes.
you kind of have to, because you have to take these characters and put them in a similar situation but different, because you just don't want to like straight pull the exact same thing from the comics.
Correct, because if you do that and if you do it incorrectly, then you're going to anger neckbeards, and you don't want to anger neckbeards.
Also, what works in print may not work on screen. Now, obviously, there are some really egregious book to movie adaptations that we won't get into this time, but in something like this where it's being sold from the beginning as its own separate continuity, I'm more okay with them changing things.
Yeah, and that's the thing I love about this movie in particular is it didn't have a lot of. This is the most unique movie of all of them so far. It did not have a real strong leaning. It had obviously an origin story for Captain Marvel, but that origin story really doesn't exist in the comic books anymore. And this storyline is so unique; it has never been published in the. I mean, the Kree Skrull War has obviously been a thing that's been going on forever. Secret Invasion is a thing that I can't wait to see on screen. But this particular storyline doesn't happen in the comics. So they had an ability to take this, change the problematic things in Ms. Marvel's past, and make them solid, make them their own. And I'm greatly appreciative of them for doing it, because if they just did the same old, we'd have. And I didn't pay too much attention to most of the trailers or character announcements. I saw Jude Law and I thought he was going to be Marvel.
I think most people probably did.
And then they made Marvel a badass woman, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm 1000% down for this.
Can we quickly say the Supreme Intelligence is like kind of like that all-knowing, like that thinks that they're doing it for the greater good.
They definitely want you to think they're all knowing.
They have all of the intelligence of every Kree, because the way that the Kree are made, they basically are constructs of the supreme intelligence, and when they die, they go back to it. So all of their intelligence, all of their knowledge, all of their history goes to that supreme intelligence.
So they're kind of like the Borg, but prettier.
Yeah. And the supreme intelligence, in reality, the greater good, yes, but it is a very selfish entity. It is all out for itself. It doesn't care about the Kree, doesn't care about anything, as long as it gets what it wants. And obviously it doesn't let the Kree especially know that. So when it creates the baby Kree from itself, the supreme intelligence is a god and mother and god and parent and everything like that, all rolled up into one.
Oh man, yeah, we've gone through this entire movie. Is it time for the end credits?
Yeah, so
we get two.
Yeah, we get a good one and then the last one.
The best one.
No, the best one is Captain America.
So we get the mid credit scene. We get the follow up of the pager from Infinity War. And they're like, "Oh, it's a big deal that Fury made sure that this happened. I don't understand." And they're like, "What do you mean it's shut off? We bypassed the battery."
Wait, was that the mid one? I thought that was the ending.
Nope, that is the mid one.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. And
The end one is where Goose barfs the Tesseract.
Yeah, which is great because they have this beeper in like a sterile room, and they're like this tech, we've never seen it before, and they just keep on pumping power into it, and then all of a sudden, boom,
it stops.
Yeah,
why? Where's Fury? Oh shit!
So she just shows up in there in this,
bypassing all of their security.
Yep. Yeah. She just photons her way into there and just be like,
the senses of the highly trained Black Widow.
Yep.
Oh,
where's Fury? Also, Fury.
Yeah, not Nick, not anything like that. Where's Fury?
Oh, and then they dropped what yesterday?
By the way, the shade, real quick, the shade from Captain America and Black Widow calling him Nick, like the shade. Now knowing this, they are disrespecting the shit out of him. Well, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care about Captain America, but Black Widow, former Russian assassin, calling him Nick. Now, if Captain America calls you Nick, you say, "Yes, Daddy, call me Nick more."
Wow, it's getting a little hot in here.
Yeah.
Where's Dale when you need him?
I mean, it's going to be sad when Dale watches Endgame and Captain America dies, but you're going to hear the Dale scream from freaking Orlando from here when that goes. It's going to be supersonic.
Dogs are freaking barking all over Florida.
Your dogs will be barking from hearing that scream when that happens, bro. You don't have a dog. It will miraculously appear, scream in pain, and then disappear.
No, no. Raoul's cat will be barking.
And then the final end credit scene is the one that every cat owner knows, the hairball.
Oh, yeah. That sound.
Hearing that sound, Rachel and I just like, no.
And here's the thing. Here's why that's the best end credit scene. Is that was Marvel just deciding to fuck with people. Because there is no feasible way that what happened was not the cameras were rolling and the cat jumped up onto the set piece and started hacking up a hairball, and they were like, "Should we cut?" No, we can use this. Keep rolling.
They did the same thing with Ant-Man and the Wasp, where you wait through 10 minutes and you see Anthony or whatever the hell his name was playing drums.
So, okay, which end credit scene was better? This one, Anthony, or the one at Homecoming?
Oh, Homecoming! Oh my
Homecoming.
God! Spider-Man: Homecoming's freaking end credit scene with
Patience.
So what I really want to see now that we've got the Carol Corps beginning in the MCU, I want to see a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie where Kamala Khan is one of his classmates.
Yes. I sincerely hope that they that would be fantastic when we get
fucking hell.
Are they in the same part?
home.
Are they in the same part of New York?
I mean, this is magical Marvel New York, so yes. He's in the city, and so are they. So.
Oh, okay. Well, because he's in Brooklyn or Manhattan.
I mean, for Spider-Man, it doesn't really matter.
His neighborhood is wherever he is.
Exactly. His favorite, the friendly neighborhood is all of New York City and Long Island.
Because in comics, he's from Brooklyn and Captain America is from Queens?
Yes.
Or is it the other way around?
No, it's
No, Captain America's from Queens.
So I think technically Avengers Mansion / Tower will be in Manhattan.
Specifically Midtown, probably.
Yeah, it is the most central point in New York City that you can, or of New York City, you can pretty much get.
I mean, that's where it is in the Spider-Man game, right?
Yes, and that's canonically where it always will be. Parker is from, I think they said in Civil War he's from Brooklyn, which in reality isn't that far from Midtown. Queens to Midtown is a bit more because then you have to cross the water thing. The sound. Rachel, help me. I'm New Yorking.
Sorry, I haven't been out of Texas very often. It's Texas and Florida.
Okay,
and Georgia.
what? I zoned out.
So Rachel or Raul asked if Spider-Man and the Avengers area are close enough in New York.
Yes.
And so Avengers X, except for the main Avengers place, is usually in central New York. And
it's located. Okay. Avengers is located typically, I want to say, on Staten Island or Manhattan. Staten Island's one side, Manhattan's here. There's a river that runs between the two.
Yeah. And Spider-Man's from Brooklyn. He goes to school in Brooklyn, which is not far.
So you've got
it's been a while.
Long Island, which Brooklyn and Queens are on the end of.
Brooklyn's in Long Island.
Staten Island and Manhattan that went onto it.
Freaking
so they're all in that small area.
So yeah, it really all depends on where they're at. Like, I don't know where the Avengers are currently at in that scene. So
man, but we know they're all going to be at in April, right?
Yeah, because in that end scene they might be in that facility that was built out in like the countryside.
Yeah, in upstate New York. Totally not at all Captain America's Institute for Gifted Youngsters. Not one bit.
I mean, it probably
shape or form
probably makes more sense for them to be out there. It's a little bit more secure with what with the global panic and all.
Yeah, and also, I mean, nobody lives in upstate New York. All right.
People have property there, but nobody lives there.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and hope that this works.
I'm going to say, don't share the screen.
There's Staten Island. There's Brooklyn.
Where?
And up here is Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's all within.
So see, it's all within a really small.
And you want to know the best part of that? All of that is Hell's Kitchen. That's another SNL reference. All right. We should take a break and then we should Tito this. So we will be right back. Stay tuned. Live listeners, we are not actually taking a break because it is late and we need to get done with this.
Raul, does that give you a better visual of where everything is? It's real close together.
Yeah, but would someone from Brooklyn be going
Brickland.
in Queens.
You just have to cross a bridge.
Don't they have like, if you live in this area, you go to this school. If you live in this area, you go to this school.
Yeah, that's down here too in Florida.
No, but like for how, what's her name? Miss Marvel would go to the same school as Parker.
Probably not.
Technically, in the comics, she's from New Jersey anyway, but we can just move that to New York.
Well,
Yeah,
also he goes to like some fancy ass private school.
True.
Yeah, so there's no
Yeah.
reason why her as an incredibly intelligent, STEM focused person wouldn't be going to that school. Because
Okay.
let's face it, nobody has they don't have those schools in New Jersey. Everything is legal in New Jersey. That's a Hamilton reference. All right.
But like really, it could have just as easily have been Miss Marvel instead of MJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
that would have been fun. I hope that she does show up though. In Far Away from Home or whatever the hell it's called. That would be a great thing to pull into the like Carrie said, bring in the full blown the Carol core. This. All right, 3, 2. And welcome back. If you want an ad-free experience, make sure you tune in live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/geekio. Photon, blast that love button and get notified when we go live. And if you want to get this on podcast and all of your podcast things, if you want a nice URL that gives you all of our stuff, patreon.com/geekio.
Don't photon blast the love button. We need that later.
I mean, it's just their love button. That just means they can't unsubscribe.
Here,
That's fair.
I'll prove that I'm not a squirrel. Boom. What's that? Squirrel can't do photon blasts.
It's a photon blast. Skull can't do that.
Also, how would Carol know anything that Fury was actually talking about was honest when she was interviewing for Skrullness, monitoring Fury's Skrullness? She didn't know shit about him. She wouldn't have known.
I think she was hoping for like, because I remember talking to a friend of mine when he was going through the police academy, and he was talking about how you can interrogate somebody or not interrogate, but like question somebody on the scene when you get there, and you ask them all these random questions about their life, about what they're doing there, how long have they lived in the house, just making random conversation, and you watch their response and see if they talk in circles, see if they stutter, if they stammer, if they hesitate. And so you're looking more, even if you don't actually know the answers, there are ways you can learn how to tell if somebody is lying or talking out their ass, unless they're trained to be able to cover for that kind of thing, obviously, by the nature of the responses that they give you.
Yeah, I mean, look what happens when Yawgmoth asks not Carol whose blood it is in her veins.
Yeah.
It's that moment of hesitation that tips him off, not whether or not she actually knows.
Fair enough. All right. This is the part where we Tito. This is our Trains in the Outback, our obligatory rating scale from 0 to 10 in 0.5 increments. All right.
Is anyone ever going to explain that to me?
Nope. It's the obligatory rating scale, and that is all you need to know.
It's a old ancient.
It is a old reference from like Tadpool Tech days before we became GKIO.
Wait,
Like,
So the 90s.
yes.
Wait, I thought that reference came from
In-
Generic Life Show.
No. It definitely was it may have been early Geek.io.
No, it was Tadpool Tech. We established that with Dale.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dale is the one who invented it, because it's Dale and me saying stupid shit to each other, and we just kind of ran with it. All right, we go left to right. It's the only time of the show any time in one of these shows I get to go first on things. So this movie is worse than Sausage Party. 0 out of 10. Moving on.
You fucking liar.
Fuck you, Raul.
Rachel.
No, I'm giving him this one.
So yeah, I don't have a lot of negative things to say about this one. I had to find the little nitpicks on the production side of things strictly because that is what I do. So obviously blows past the 5 of would I am I enjoying myself. I usually judge movies that I just genuinely enjoy and would see again, usually at an 8, because I don't normally watch movies a second time. I would, and this kind of move, and this moves past there. I am hesitant to give it a 10, because I've only seen it the once, and obviously I kind of have the happy-go-lucky, this is a perfect movie kind of thing. I am always hesitant to give a movie a 10 since I got burned with that one with Avengers 2. So I am going to give this movie a very, very strong 9.5. But nevertheless, still worse than Sausage Party.
You're never living that movie down, Raul.
No, I'm not living down the rating Sausage Party on top of Fullmetal Alchemist live action.
Because there's times that people are objectively wrong, and yes, opinions, but opinions can be objectively wrong.
It's 0.5. I gave it a 0.5.
Objectively wrong.
The existence of that movie is objectively wrong.
Yes. Rachel, you're up.
No, I'm dying. Your son's killing me. Very much like CJ, I don't want to give out 10 because I don't like doing that for multiple reasons. Not just because of the debacle that occurred with God
damn you, Avengers 2.
Damn Avengers. And I had to go back and watch it, and then I cried for giving it a 10, but that's okay. So I'm going to say the plus is I love that they made her strong, and not just in powers, but in her as a person. It was never a matter of she's strong because of the powers. No, she is strong because she powered through literally every single thing that was put in front of her. You can see that with her training for the Air Force. You can see that with her crap with her father and her family. You can see all those little flashbacks and all those little memories that she has that she's busting her ass in and getting her ass busted. She still perseveres. And that is the kind of character that I love, and I love to be able to see, and I love exposing my daughter to, because there are so few strong, like genuinely strong female characters out there that I would love to see her emulate. 2, bringing Marvel into a female made me happy, because let's face it, you're not only giving a strong character, but a strong female character that looks up to another equally strong female character, which once again, there's not enough female role models out there that you want your children to actually emulate when they grow up. Like, you keep persevering. You've got the science mind in Marvel, and then you've got the perseverance side with Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers. So that being said, I'm still really annoyed at the eyeball thing. That is because I used to steal my brother's comics when he collected them when I was very young. So I grew up reading all of the older comics, and Fury is one of those characters that I'm like, you messed with Fury. Though I'm okay with how they're doing it, because it was funny as shit watching them go, male, human, level of threat, 0. And the look on his face is like, but. And then, of course, everything with the cat. I'm not giving it a 10, but I will stand at probably a pretty solid 9.5 for those 2 major reasons. That and the bouncy section, just that bothered me. Like, initially it was like, what are you doing? Stop that. That's not okay. But as it kept going, it was like, okay, I can see this, but they gave you no warning for that little bit, and it threw me off. So I will sit at a 9.5 for my score for that.
Awesome. Dale is not cool enough to be here. So, Raul.
Oh man, what can I say about this movie that we haven't talked about this entire? It's a great movie, great female leads, great role models, strong. No having the big old strong man saving me. No, I'm saving them. And I love the last the little short montage of her getting up from every single time that she got knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just boom, she goes into binary. She realizes, okay, this is from Rocky Balboa. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It matters on getting up every time you get knocked. And yeah, I mean, it's, oh boy. I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give it a 9. Great characters. It was fun to watch. And the villain, which was mostly Yog Saron there, which I know is not his name. It's Yog whatever.
Jan Rand.
Okay.
Ran so far away.
And they didn't end the movie with her killing him. She sends him home with a message saying that, tell the Supreme Intelligence I'm coming for them. And then she goes off and helps the Kree, helps the Skrull
Mm-hmm.
to find a place that they can get away from the fighting.
Yeah.
Which this is pretty much like you said, it's a splinter group. Because they're not fighters. They're what's his name's family.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are civilians.
Yeah, civilians. I mean,
yeah, he's a fighter. Talos is a fighter, but he's the only one. Because he makes the comment of, it's war, my hands are bloody as well.
Yeah.
And that was another great, where it could have been, harping on the bad blood between them. She goes to apologize and he, like, hey, we're both equally culpable in this.
Yeah. I've killed Kree, you've killed Skrulls. Yeah, I mean, we were at war, but not at war with civilians. And yeah, that's excuse me. Who's next? Carrie.
I am next. So I've been looking forward to this movie for a very, very long time. I would not shut up about the possibility of a Captain Marvel movie even before one was announced, as Josh can attest. From being in a comic book shop, looking for a comic starring someone that I could relate to, that I could identify with, and seeing boob window after ass pose after, helpless maiden, damsel in distress, to suddenly seeing Carol Danvers in all of her glory. And thinking, finally, a female character I actually want to read about. Was I entertained? Obviously, I saw this movie twice in 48 hours. Treatment of female characters in this movie, we've discussed that. I feel like I don't really need to say any more about that. Bechdel-Wallace test, Nakamori test, all of those. This is Carol's movie, and it belongs to the women around her as well. The way it executed all of the little nods, the way that it branches out with moments of levity, with moments of comedy. And like Rachel is saying, it's somebody that you want to look up to. Carol is a strong character, not just power-wise, not just being tough because she's a fucking badass and lived through some pretty shitty life experiences. But the movie also takes it a step further. And in an age where women are often being derided as being too emotional, the movie shows her as embracing her feelings as being a strength. Trust your gut. Show mercy to, refugees. Marvell is depicted as a hero because she chose peace over war, which is a message that we need more of. Superhero movies are fun. Beat up the bad guys, win the fight. That's all well and good. But in 2019, we need more messages of having feelings also makes you strong. Acknowledging them makes you strong. Choosing peace makes you strong. And getting to see, a whole new generation of female heroes that everyone from our age on to Kia's age can appreciate is really fucking important. Wonder Woman started it. Now we've got Captain Marvel. We're gonna get Spectrum. God, we better fucking get Spectrum. And we need that. And so I know CJ and Rachel were on the fence about going any higher than a 9.5. But for what this movie means to me, and also to help tip the scales because you guys were kind of on the fence, I'm going to give it a 10.
Yeah, that's fair. That is absolutely fair.
I can actually watch someone like me kicking ass and saving the day without having to watch her boobs jiggle. And without her life revolving around a dude.
Yeah.
Which there are a lot of men that I love a whole lot in my life. 3 of them are on this call right now. That doesn't mean that the characters I watch should have their entire existence centered around them. Sometimes girls got a girl.
Definitely. And Josh?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, you are here.
0 out of 10, not enough robots. As a matter of fact, the score is directly affected by how many robots were in the film, which was 0.
Yeah, because the acting was good.
Yep. No, in all seriousness, while I can't claim to have the same level of hype as Carrie going into wanting this movie to be a thing that exists, to knowing this movie was a thing that was coming, to actually seeing this movie and having all of your hopes and dreams paid off, basically, I can be equally excited that she has had this to be excited about. To be in a situation where this movie can be made and be such a shining star in the sky of very boys club stuff like geekery has been in the past.
Mm-hmm. I grew up being told you don't want to watch X-Men, that's for boys.
Exactly. Like, the fact that it's taken this long to move past that is sad. But it's great that it's happening, and then it's great that it's happening in a time where we can appreciate it and even look back on it with our own children eventually. This didn't get touched on in the production stuff, but one of the things I loved finding out about this movie was that Brie Larson got paid more for her first appearance as Captain Marvel than Robert Downey Jr. got paid for Iron Man.
10 times as much.
And that's more than just adjusting for inflation in the time since then. Like, not only was this a, brilliantly powerful and empowering movie in terms of what it represents, but even the fact that, hey, this female star was paid better than she ever could have possibly dreamed to have been paid, a decade prior. If this movie had come out which it wouldn't have, in the 90s or early 2000s. She would have made a tenth instead of 10 times as much. And that's important, because pay inequality is complete and total bullshit. Any inequality at this point is complete and total bullshit. We should be better than this. And we're getting there slowly but surely, and that makes me real happy. Needs to, step on the brake gas a little bit, but we'll get there. And that makes me happy. And all joking about robots aside, it was a real damn good movie. Everything was super well paced. I'm not film school trained, so I didn't notice the apparently glaring jump cuts. I just saw awesome, badass lady hero kicking ass, taking names, firing off quips, and it coasted. It was smooth the whole way through. Start to finish, it was just an enjoyable ride. Like she said, we've seen it twice in 48 hours. Did we need to? No. Did we want to? Hell yes. That is money that I don't regret spending in the least. Probably the only reason we haven't gone to see it again is I've been working every day this week. Makes it a little difficult. But yeah, all the little nods to the rest of the canon, the ridiculous end credit scene. It was so good, and it was so nice, and it makes me happy that we have this as a thing now, and also as a thing to be a guidepost going forward. Wonder Woman was a great start. This is the baton pass, basically, of this is what we need to be doing going forward. The fact that this movie did not sit there with the vuvuzelas going, feminism, 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 is what makes it a great movie. It was great in its own right for not being all of the things that would have detracted from it previously. So, yeah. I'm going to be on the 9.5 club for this one because, like I said, I couldn't have been as excited as Carrie, but I want to say it's not my place to be as excited. I'm excited for her. It's not a perfect movie for me, but I am super happy that people have this perfect movie. So if I could give it a 9.75, I would. If I could give it a 9.95, I would. But it just needs a little more robot.
Next time, Robot Cat.
Ooh. Mecha Flurkin. Chung, 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 chung.
All right. That brings us to a average of one of these days. I will remember to pull up a calculator before doing this.
Pull up the calculator while other people are talking.
Can we put a macro in that table?
No, not in here. It's in the historical one, in the Google, in the spreadsheet one, but not in here. It's just it's a word table. So 9.5 times 3 plus 9 plus 10 divided by 5, 9.5. That makes sense. I just needed to make sure the math was correct.
Well, yeah, because Raul and I average out to 9.5.
Yeah, math is weird, so I wanted to make sure that it was correct.
Yeah.
Math is math. Math is math.
One detail that I forgot to mention while we were talking about stuff, the tiny little touches that I noticed this the second time we watched it. In the very beginning, where she's having her dream, where she's trying to remember the crash, and you see where Jan Rog was turned into a scroll. The Kree also manipulated her memories for her blood and made her blood blue.
Yep.
That was cool.
Loved that for that. That was amazing.
And then when you actually see the flashback, you see it like super enhanced red.
Yeah, very saturated. All right.
Also, the fact that they named the Avengers after her. That's important.
It is. It is very important. All right. So we are going to wrap up here, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while we talk about this amazing movie. If you want to listen to us live, remember we record live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Fridays at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/geekio show. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so. Show at geek-io.net. All of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, /geekio show. If you want to give us a call and leave us a voicemail, 727-489-4335. That is 727-489-GEEK. Remember that we do have a Discord that you can talk to us at any time during day or night, geek-io.net/Discord. And instead of pimping that again, I want to make sure that everybody goes over to geek-io.net/fight-cancer for our Streamathon coming up on March 30th to help the Depews of How It Stacks fame and very awesome people. Help them out a little bit and also raise some attention for not attention line not attention but awareness. There we go. Beat you to it.
I was saying it, but my mic was muted.
To cancer in general on March 30th, right here on twitch.tv/geekio show. Again, that is geek-io.net/fight-cancer. All one word. Hey, Raul.
Yeah, CJ.
What are we doing next week?
Next week, we have the summer movie Smackdown.
Ding, 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 ding.
No, that's what this bumper is for.
Now it's time for the Geek I.O. Winter Movie Smackdown update.
Yes.
Last time
for the year. We have our final updates. First place on top, Dale with a commanding lead of $54,119,000. I am in second place, $44,986,000. Raul is in third place with $29,878,000. Rachel's in
last place.
Rachel's in fourth place with $17,962,000. Josh is in fifth place with $12,810,000. And Carrie, comfortably in last place, is $8,382,000. It is the curse of the victor to become the last place after the next one. Ask Rachel. She won once and has not won again since.
No, I've never won.
Thought you won once. I could have sworn you won once. Dale! Jazz! But like always, we have our awards. Movies that the best and the worst of the movie this season. The highest grossing, Aquaman. $2 million with a whole bunch of money. That was my money. That was my movie. Yay me. Surprisingly, I don't have the highest and lowest grossing movie, which is pretty much my thing that I do. Josh takes this one with Replicas. Barely breaking, almost making $4 million. Almost. Best value, Halloween took off for you, Raul. That was a surprise hit. Worst value, Mortal Engines, me doing my thing that I do, which is always picking the worst value movie. Freshest, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with a 97%.
Woohoo!
Harry's movie. And most rotten, this Replicas movie again with an 11%.
I won 2 awards. Yay!
It surprises me that the most rotten movie was still a double digit. It usually is not. Right, Gem and the Holograms, Raul?
So what happened last week, Josh?
That was a thing, by the way, that was a fun thing that we had to worry about making rules for because Gem fell so hard. We had to create new rules because of it.
Oh.
Well, you know,
there are
2 pillars to what hold up society. One is the people who shine the brightest, and the other are Florida Man. So this week on the Geek I.O. Media Network, we Took some shots from the shots gun.
I'm sad that you did not make a lemon drink.
A lemon drink.
Because there's a bunch of lemon things in Resident Evil games, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. He needed something with a little less zest. He's dealing with the undead after all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Raul taking on the undying hordes, and God, were they ever undying?
Yeah, they
I've
take
seen
a lot
something
of...
take so many shots to the face since my ex.
Oh.
Oh my god,
Walk
that game! I've seen people play it. It is more stressful when you're playing it, and the fact that you run out of ammo so often. Because
Well, yeah, especially when you're shooting the wall.
I shit you not. I think I put like 3 or 4 rounds into the wall.
I mean,
For a zombie.
That sounds like a you problem.
That's why I'm tempted to pick this up for the PC, just because the aiming would be easier.
Aside from that bit of adventuring, we had the return / debut / reinvigoration of the magical adventuring Winnebago and motorcycle sword.
Yeah.
With Devil May Cry the 5th time with the Game of Geeks this past weekend, making it harder and harder to resist getting this damn game. God, what am I going to delete off my PlayStation this time?
It's so good.
Also, why do disc purchased games take up so much fucking space on the hard drive?
Right. Well, it's because, yes, it's a dumb thing, but it's just because that they are basically just a CD key at this point.
Yeah, they're install discs at this point.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. That goes against the point of buying physical media. This is why we buy our games on discs, so we don't have to fucking install them.
You remember when a game had 4 discs to get through it? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I'd rather have that than having to delete shit off the PS4 just to play a goddamn game.
How many gigs is your PlayStation?
One of the first ones, so not many, because we buy our games on disc and didn't think we would need a download fucking terabyte hard drive on our PlayStation.
Yeah, ours is 400 gig, I believe.
Okay, you should be.
Yeah, I would buy a new hard drive and slap that puppy in there.
It's not like we have to worry about avoiding the warranty at this point.
Well, it's actually in warranty. It is allowed to upgrade your hard drive. Both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One allowed for hard drive upgrades. They did not void the warranty.
Nice.
If you
Good to
want
know.
to save your save data, like your saves and all that, you need to save it onto a flash drive.
Yeah, you need a flash. You do need a medium between the two of them.
Well, Josh is pro, so he can just back his save data up to the cloud.
That'll work too.
But yeah, we had the small screen spoiler show this week. You know, the lesser of two shows.
I mean, it has 3 more S's than the other ones, so.
This is true. And if Devil May Cry has taught us anything, is the more S's, the better.
Exactly.
And Devil May Cry packs in a lot of S's.
It does. So many S's.
And the camera knows it. Talking about that Gotham, the Black Lightning, and something with Periskull School. I don't know.
Periskull?
Periskull, yeah, Periskull School. It's what happens when you get a bit too involved with a chemical, to the point it's practically a romance.
It's a fun show, that Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, I'm having trouble not binge watching it right now.
I was on the fence of whether to watch it or not.
It's gory, but it's a lot of fun.
Honestly, it's kind of X-Men goes to Peregrine School.
Okay, I might try an
for
episode.
Unusual Children.
Yeah, gore is not my thing, so I don't know if I will watch the whole thing.
See, that's the thing. It's not super gory. Yeah,
like
there are
Deadpool level
scenes that I've kind of looked at and gone, ugh. Like there's one scene with a donut shop and a butter knife. That's all I'm gonna say. And I just kind of sat there going, oh, Uh-oh.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Meanwhile, last day off, I spent binge watching The Dragon Prince. So,
but it's definitely Miss Peregrine's School of for Unusual Children meets the X-Men, because that's kind of the two. Wouldn't you say, CJ? That's kind of where
100%.
Yeah, and it's dark humor. It's some campy good fun.
Oh yeah.
Up to and including putting a cigarette out on somebody's ashes because they hated the person, and I just kind of go, well, that worked.
Meta.
Yeah.
That was love right there.
Speaking of meta, it's time for a Nightscape knockdown, you guys.
Yeah, it is.
Life and death dancing among the flames. Who will come out on top and who's the bottom? I mean, who'll come out on bottom? Anyways. This week on Exploding Dice, roll them bones and find out.
It is 3 hours of well worth it, man. Like, it is a long episode, yes, but holy shit.
Ballroom Blitz.
Oh. We thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. We are going to do some show titles here really quick and then head out.
Get the fuck out of here.
So this is the time of the show where Carrie embarrasses herself by reading some of the stupid things that we've said through the show. Not many this time.
So we've got Thank You, Stan, Yog Saran, Who's That Guy? It Adds Credence, Cat Dad, 5 People and the Tesseract, Cat of Holding, Stomach Juice into Knots, The Borg but Prettier, Scrollness, and Paris Scroll School.
I like it at credence.
Then vote for it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Rachel, I know you can't vote, but what do you want to vote for on this one?
I will say Thank You, Stan technically has 2 because Josh hit it before I could.
Okay.
What about this? I'll put Thank You, Stan at the very end of the description.
There we go. Also, I do love Cat of Holding.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Cat of Holding.
So we have I like Cat of Holding. So we have tied 2 between It Adds Credence and Cat of Holding.
I can't vote for Cat of Holding, so.
All right. So Cat of Holding it is.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Stan, for your Cat of Holding.
I mean, canonically speaking, they do have like interdimensional space in their stomachs. So they are literally cats of holding.
Yes. Also, rest in peace, Chewie. Lost but never forgotten. Her cat, the name was originally Chewie. I said that already. Poor Chewie. All right, guys, we love you. Be good to one another. We will see you right back here next week where we beat the shit out of each other with a fantasy movie draft. Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's gonna get vicious.
No Dale this time, so we'll actually have a chance of figuring out who wins.
You have been listening to a Geek I.O. Media Network LLC production. Would you like to convert that to pounds? Copyright 2019.
Up all night to get lucky.
No, he's in Avengers.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.